Today, we'll be discussing and fact-checking a video that's been making the rounds on social media in which a woman expresses her concerns about America becoming a fascist state. We'll be going through her list of claims one by one, providing context and analysis to see if these issues support her conclusion. So, let's dive in.
Hi, so I never make videos like this, but I made a list of things that are happening right now in America that I'm really concerned about and you should be concerned about too. Number 1, the Willow Project got approved, which will release 9.2 million metric tons of carbon pollution into the air per year.
The woman mentions the Willow Project being approved, which she says will release 9.2 million metric tons of carbon pollution into the air per year. The Willow Project is an oil and gas development project in Alaska. While the project has indeed been approved and will have environmental impacts, it's important to note that this is not necessarily indicative of a fascist state, but more related to environmental regulations and policy decisions.
Number 2, the Supreme Court might overturn the Indian Child Welfare Act, which would allow Native children to be taken away from their parents.
The second claim involves the potential overturning of the Indian Child Welfare Act by the Supreme Court. While the court has heard cases challenging the ICWA, it is still uncertain whether it will be overturned. The ICUA aims to keep Native American children within their communities, so any changes would be concerning.
Number 3, South Carolina and Texas are calling for executions as a punishment for abortion.
The woman claims that South Carolina and Texas are calling for executions as a punishment for abortion. While there have been bills proposed by some lawmakers in these states that would punish abortion providers and people who undergo abortions, they have not been enacted into law. It's important to differentiate between individual proposals and enacted legislation.
Number 4, Tennessee passed a bill gutting marriage equality for same-sex, interfaith, and interracial relationships.
The fourth claim is that Tennessee passed a bill gutting marriage equality for same-sex, interfaith, and interracial relationships. While there have been efforts in Tennessee to limit marriage equality, these efforts have not been successful in overturning existing federal protections for such marriages. It's crucial to differentiate between individual state efforts and federal law when discussing issues like marriage equality.
Number 5, Florida has introduced a bill codifying gender-affirming healthcare as abuse and allowing trans children to be removed from their parents.
The fifth claim is that Florida introduced a bill defining gender-affirming healthcare as abuse and allowing trans children to be removed from their parents. While there have been bills targeting transgender rights in Florida, the specific bill mentioned has not been enacted into law. Again, it's essential to recognize that individual bills do not represent the broader policies of the entire country.
Number 6, Tennessee banned drag and gender-affirming healthcare for minors.
The woman says that Tennessee banned drag and gender-affirming healthcare for minors. While the Tennessee bill banning gender-affirming healthcare for minors can be considered a restrictive and discriminatory policy, it's important to consider the broader definition of fascism when analyzing whether this single policy can be characterized as such. Fascism is a far-right, authoritarian political ideology that emphasizes nationalism, strong central government control, and often includes suppression of dissent and persecution of minority groups. A single policy, like the one in Tennessee, may be seen as oppressive to a specific group, but it doesn't necessarily indicate that the entire state or country is embracing a fascist ideology. In the context of Tennessee, while the bill banning gender-affirming healthcare for minors is concerning, it's not enough on its own to label the state or the United States as a whole as a fascist regime.
Number 7, Mississippi brought back Jim Crow laws, which allow segregation of all white towns, police forces, and government.
Claim 7 states that Mississippi has brought back Jim Crow laws, allowing for segregation of all white towns, police forces, and government. While there have been instances of racial discrimination in Mississippi, there is no evidence of a statewide reinstatement of Jim Crow laws. This claim appears to be exaggerated.
Number 8, Arkansas passed laws to make child labor easier.
The 8th claim is that Arkansas passed laws to make child labor easier. While there have been discussions around loosening child labor restrictions, no recent legislation has been enacted that significantly eases child labor laws in Arkansas. it's important to distinguish between discussions and actual legislation when examining these claims.
Number 9, a Tennessee representative called for lynchings to be brought back.
The woman mentions that a Tennessee representative called for lynchings to be brought back, while a Tennessee lawmaker did make a comment regarding the return of the electric chair for executions. He did not specifically call for lynching. Regardless, the comment was met with widespread condemnation, and it's essential to consider the broader response to such statements.
Number 10, representatives from several states are calling for transgenocide. We are in stage 7 of genocide.
Claim 10 states that representatives from several states are calling for transgenocide and that we are in stage 7 of genocide. While there have been efforts to restrict transgender rights in various states, the claim that representatives are actively calling for genocide is exaggerated and not supported by evidence.
Number 11, anti-Semitic hate crimes are on the rise.
The woman says that anti-Semitic hate crimes are on the rise. While there has been an increase in hate crimes targeting various groups, including Jewish people, this is a concerning trend that needs to be addressed. Let's take a look at some specific examples of anti-Semitic incidents that have occurred in recent years. In 2018, a gunman targeted the Tree of Life Synagogue in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, killing 11 people and injuring several others. This was one of the deadliest attacks against the Jewish community in U.S. history and was driven by anti-Semitic beliefs. Also in 2019, a man entered a rabbi's home in Monsey, New York, during a Hanukkah celebration and stabbed 5 people with a machete. The attacker had researched anti-Semitic material online. While the increase in anti-Semitic hate crimes is alarming, it's important to recognize that this issue alone does not directly correlate to the existence of a fascist state. Rather, it serves as a reminder of the importance of fostering tolerance, inclusion, and education in our society to counteract hate and discrimination.
Number 12, Cop City in Atlanta exists.
Claim 12 refers to Cop City in Atlanta. This refers to a proposed public safety training facility in Atlanta that has faced opposition from local residents and activists. While the development of this facility is a matter of debate and concern for some, it is not directly indicative of a fascist state. Instead, it represents a policy decision related to law enforcement training.
And number 13, books are being mass banned in schools, and the government is trying to control education.
The woman's final claim is that books are being mass banned in schools, and the government is trying to control education. While there have been instances of book banning in various schools and districts, it's important to remember that education policy decisions are often made at the local level. This issue is concerning and should be monitored.
So we're living in a fascist regime, and I don't know what to do about it at this point.
In conclusion, while many of the issues raised by the woman in the video are indeed concerning, it's essential to analyze each claim critically and understand the broader context. Some claims are exaggerated and others represent policy decisions that do not necessarily indicate a fascist state. It's crucial to continue to stay informed, engage in dialogue, and work together to address these concerns and create positive change. Thanks for watching this analysis. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this. See you in the next video.